Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Hazeeq, and in this video I want to talk about the markets, talk about the sentiment, where I think we are, and I want to address all of the negativity that you see in the comments under even some of my videos, people calling for bear markets, people saying that every single coin's going down to zero. Of course, this is my opinion only. I'm not a financial advisor. But let's jump into the top 10 in terms of market cap. On CoinMarketCap, Bitcoin is back up above $83,000. We had a big sell-off below 79, I believe, thousand. We dropped to 78 or so. We're going to jump into the Bitcoin chart in a second. Ethereum is below $2,000. I think Ethereum is sitting at a very good buying price. If you're looking for a strong altcoin that is most likely going to do at least a 2x, then Ethereum is a good pick in my opinion. And during our past few live streams, you can go and check them out on my channel, we have covered some of the indicators and the reasons why I think we are not in a bear market. And if we take a look at the Bitcoin chart and we go back to 2021, we had a similar correction from April 2021 down to the July 2021 bottom. That was a 56% correction for Bitcoin during a bull market. Now, the on-chain data says that this was the bull market cycle top, and some analysts tend to agree with that. However, the altcoins continued their bull market rally into August, September, October, and November. So some of them peaked in April, some of them in May, some of them in August, some of them in November, December, and some of them even in January 2022. So this is a similar correction. However, if you compare the drop in terms of percentage, we are only sitting at a 30% correction when this correction back in 2021 was a whopping 56%. This was brutal, and people were crying the exact same way they are right now, especially all of the new investors that got in over the past few months in December, November, January. All of these people that got in, they got met with these three powerful green monthly candles, and they were buying because they thought Bitcoin is going to $100,000 immediately, and they were essentially met with reality. And this is the same thing that's happening over here. We had a good few months from September 2024 into January 2025, and now we're seeing a correction. The monthly 20 EMA is all the way down at $67,000. I don't think we're coming back down that low. If you take a look at this block that we have here, we are in that block at the moment. And if I go to the daily, you can see that we still have. So let me just zoom in. So this is based on the 1.414 and the 1.272 Fibonacci levels. And we took this low over here, and we took this high over here. So the August 2024 high, or sorry, low, and the March 2024 high. So this is the fractal that we got. We got the second fib level at $110,000, and that actually played out pretty accurately. We got to the second fib level there, and then we started correcting towards the 1.272. So from here, we would be expecting one last leg up towards $130,000 to $156,000. That is what I think that's where I think the top for Bitcoin will probably come into play. And if you take a look at the correction that we've had for a lot of the altcoins during summer 2021, those were really good buying prices. So let's go back down to Cardano, and let's go to the weekly here, and let's see what happened back during that correction in 2021. So we were sitting in May at $2.40 plus cents, and then by the end of June, we were essentially down to $1. And that was a very good buying opportunity. From there, you were able to do a 3x move. And this is Cardano. This was obviously a top altcoin. We can move back to something like Algorand. So we dropped from March 2021 into September 2021, 63%. That was a pretty strong correction. And then we went up and we did 350% to the upside. And again, this was one of the bigger altcoins at the time. we can take a look at something that is not as big. For example, let's take a look at Engine. So this had the, and I'm not saying Engine is going to do similar gains this time around because it's an older coin. However, if we take a look at this correction here, look at that, 81% for Engine. And then after that, it does 540% almost. And there's plethora of examples like that. We can take a look at Polkadot here. We went from 10 bucks all the way to 55 bucks, so 427%. Ethereum did the same thing. So Ethereum dropped from around 4,400 down to 1,730, and we went up 184%. So lots of these coins had similar moves. The same goes for Injective. We dropped from 25, 80%, and then from there we rallied, but this was a lower high, so we didn't actually break new all-time highs for Injective. Near Protocol, we can take a look at Near. We had a very similar situation here. Correction from March into September, 80%. After that, we went up 1,156%. This is what happens during a bear market, during a bull market. You have these massive corrections and you have to sit through them with some altcoins if you want to catch these big moves to the upside. Otherwise, just take profits immediately. If you don't want to be in these volatile roller coasters of a ride, you want to be selling when you're in the profit. So when it went up, take profit in December. When Trump became president, when we had the crypto AI rally, you could have sold and you could have been out of the markets. Simple as that. But if you want to hold for an extended period of time and then at the same time you don't want to go through these corrections, well, it doesn't work that way. You can't have the cake and eat it as well. I think that's the saying that everyone uses. Let's go to Dogecoin and see what happened here. So yeah, Dogecoin pretty much went to its all-time high in May and it hasn't recovered since, in April, sorry. So this is what I was talking about when I said some altcoins are going to be printing their highs in April, some of them in January 2022, like for example Polkadot, it was November 2021, Engine, November 2021, Eagled, November 2021, and then you go to something like Near Protocol, it was January 2022. Bitcoin Cash was April. Cardano was August. So you can't really predict when an altcoin is going to set an all-time high price. That's why you have to be using multiple different indicators to know when to sell. So you could use the total 3 market cap. You could use the price of the token. You could use the market cap of the project. You could use the RSI on multiple charts. You could use some of the bigger indicators that we're using here. For example, the alt season index, that's an indicator you can use. You can use the Bitcoin rainbow chart. You can use I think this is the terminal price, right, for Bitcoin to catch the top. So for example, here, where it was, so this was around April, May. We peaked there. And then the next peak, the Bitcoin price didn't actually hit the red line even. We haven't even gone up to the red line the first time in this bull market. So we, in my opinion, based on what the on-chain indicators are telling us, based on the macro environment, we still haven't had a massive bull market for altcoins. And one could argue that we're not going to, and only time will tell. However, if we're going based on what's going on in the markets, we're going based on the M2 global liquidity, then things are shaping up to be very bullish for at least the second half of 2025. The CPI data just came in for the United States and the inflation is below expectations, right? We were expecting one number, we got a lower number, which is always good. So let's see what happens. So the annual inflation rate is at 2.8% for the month of February, according to the Labor Department agency. The all item CPI had increased by 0.5% in January. And here's the update. So on an annual basis, headline inflation was 2.8, while core inflation, that's excluding food and gas, I believe, that was at 3.1%. Both also were 0.1 percentage point below the Wall Street consensus or the expectation. And that is usually a good thing because the markets were pricing in one number and they got a lower number, which is usually a bullish thing. The consumer price index for both all items had and core increased 0.2% in February, slightly below expectations. So this is showing that inflation is slightly coming back down, and that's a good thing. But if you go to the CME expectations for the next FOMC meeting happening March 19th, 98% are expecting a no change in March, and 82% are expecting no change in May. These numbers were fluctuating a lot. So a lot of people, or a lot of investors, were expecting actually a 25 basis points cut. In fact, we had 37.4% expecting that, but now it's down to 17.6%. And these numbers will change constantly depending on what Jerome Powell says, depending on macro events, etc. Unemployment is also rising. 4.1% was the unemployment rate for the month of February, and that is up from the 4% mark in January 2025. So these are potentially the conditions where the Fed is going to be cutting interest rates in June. If we take a look at the June 18th FOMC meeting, we have a 68.8% expecting a 25 basis points cut. And I think once the markets start pricing that in after the May FOMC meeting, we could have a pretty big rally, in my opinion. But that's, again, my opinion. I'm not telling you to sell your kidney and go buy Bitcoin. However, I've been in the markets long enough. I've seen the same exact rhetoric from a lot of people who bought the top and are essentially complaining about the prices dropping. But this is what happens when you buy altcoins, especially when you buy the riskier ones, the newer ones, the lower cap ones. They're going to go down 70 to 80%. But then keep in mind, it might only take a few days for 3 massive candles to essentially bring the price to a 10x, to a 15x from your buying price. So you have to be dollar cost averaging if you want to bring down that average price and you want to maximize your rewards or your ROI as much as possible. Of course, you can do that if you want to. I'm not telling you to, but I would definitely be doing that if I had some altcoins or I had some spare money. So do your own research, guys. Take a look at the market. See what is looking like it's a good buy. For example, if you go to the AI sector, near protocol below $3, render at $3. You can take a look at Injective. This is very low, below $10. This is crazy. I honestly never thought we'd see Injective below $10 again. Virtuals is down. You have Ether. So there's a lot of projects you can take a look at here. Destra is down quite a lot. So feel free to go through all of this. Keep in mind, some of these aren't even listed on Binance or Coinbase. So we could have massive pumps from these listing news. And that's about it for me. I just wanted to give you my kind of perspective on the markets because I know a lot of people are very bullish. They're upset. The market's hurt. I get it. It's hard buying during these prices. But this is what we have to do if you want to be successful in the crypto markets. If you want something less volatile, you can switch over to the S&P 500, go into stocks, and you'll have these 8 to 10% fluctuations, and that would be considered a massive thing. If you want to obviously generate wealth and make a lot of money, crypto is the place to be at, but you have to be smart and you have to be taking profits. In fact, I will be switching up my strategy a little bit and I'll be more aggressive with taking profits because I want to get out sooner before the next massive crash comes after we have that altcoin rally. And again, take a look at the altcoin season index. And once we have that rally from the Bitcoin season into the altcoin season, when we're here at the top, like we were back in April 2021, you want to be taking profits on the way up and you want to be getting out as soon as you can. That's about it. Thank you all. Stay safe and goodbye.